Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. This is another classic game. It's between Remy and Slin. Both playing UEF here. It's Eye of the Storm. Really pretty crazy map. A lot of different builds, but of course both water. Well, all water, air, and ground extremely important. And of course Riptides with UEF should be very interesting. So I just watched a very good cast of Supreme Commander Forged Alliance and a channel that I'm going to link in the description. I encourage people to check this one out. It's actually very good. Learn new things in this game, so if you enjoy these videos, you'll definitely enjoy those. So we see here Remy going second air after 6 P-gens. Should be good on this map. And a second air for Slin as well, also after 6 P-gens. So nearly identical builds so far for these two players. See the first two engineers. Yeah, again, this mast that's kind of hidden, but I guess most people know about. First 3 engineers, actually first 4 engineers from Slin. So we do see now mech marines coming out for easy, and yeah, it's just mech marines so far. An engineer actually going to the middle. There's an engineer for both players. It looks like Remy's just a little faster. We also see mech marines coming out for Slin. He's actually sending them in both directions around the map. And for easy, for Remy, he's got 3 mech marines going in the same direction, so they're just going to the side base. One thing to know on this map, of course, is where the ACUs go. Sometimes the ACU is sent to the middle, but other times you gotta take one of these bases. We either have an ACU and ACU fight, or we have an ACU take it, and then basically a very even 2 base versus 2 base battle. Of course, the middle also pretty important here. We got plenty of rocks to reclaim for 4 mass extractors. That's quite a bit. It looks like the third factory from Remy is also going to be an air factory, and a whole bunch of P-gens. And here comes the first bomber from Remy. You can see the mech marines for Slin always making it around the map. And here's going to be interceptor versus bomber. So I guess Slin guessed right with his unit choice, but see if this bomber can take out that engineer before it is shut out of the air. And it looks like he didn't even attempt. And here comes a bomber as well for Slin. So you can see Slin taking that early advantage here, minute 4, winning the early air battle over middle. And of course that's going to translate. That was a great dodge there from Remy. Good stuff, but probably won't be able to survive for too long. Actually, that bomber was taken out by one of Remy's interceptors, and Remy, this will be very even, but it looks like Remy actually will recapture the air very quickly. Yes, that's what we see, a whole bunch of engineers on the air factory for Remy. It's really paying off for him. He's able to hold on to his engineer. And still an engineer for Slin, so we'll see who actually gets the middle part. We see a point defense being built by Slin. Remy should have a little bit of time to figure this out and do something about it, but see if he does. You can see now, yeah, it looks like a mech marine for Slin right in here. Got taken out by that group of 3 mech marines from Remy. And the ACU for Slin now going over to the top. The ACU for Remy going to the top as well. So the ACUs are going to meet in the top corner. We're going to have a fight over the bottom here. It looks like early on the mech marines for Remy are getting the better of this battle. I'm missing some things in this. It appears, yeah, we did have an engineer fight here between Slin and Easy, and Slin was able to win by a difference of 2 health. And now here comes a point defense. So it looks like Slin will hold on to the middle, and he also starting Tech 1 Navy here, coming out with a submarine. And we'll see which ACU gets to the middle first. It looks like Slin is stopping to make some mass extractors. He's going to get a few of those rocks, go to a hydro. And this air fight definitely in Remy's favor here. And if he can capture air over the middle, this engineer should either get a factory or some anti-air really quick, because it will be very easy to reclaim that for Remy. Now we do see now submarines, and actually going Tech 2 with Navy now, Slin. He's got multiple air factories, taking a couple mass extractions to T2. And actually Remy going with his air force very aggressively, perhaps thinking about shutting down the air production, but we now do see some flak, so perhaps that move just to force Slin to waste some mass I'm making Tech 1 flak at his base. Also a nice frigate here from Slin, looking for engineers expanding to the bottom. If they get too close, will be shot. The ACUs now should know about each other. Well, so far Remy's just making mass extractors. If Slin can get this factory done, which he will, get some engineers, get more build capacity, he should have a pretty big advantage. Now looking at Remy's base, a couple of T2 mass extractors, and I'll go on T2 air, perhaps gunships. Have another air factory just for the interceptor spam. And with gunships on this map, it's a very good unit, especially if you have air control. But with these three factories, Slin could probably get an air force really quick. He's also making a frigate, and of course that's excellent anti-air capabilities. I'm hearing some fighting, some shooting. Yeah, these planes are grounded for a bunch of tanks. This is not what you want to do. So Remy loses a plane there, but takes off. So you can see a lot of stuff going on at the same time on this one. Looks like Remy might actually capture this map. No, he's just going to reclaim this factory from Slin. Be interesting to capture it. Slin's making some mass extractors, so crazy battle going on here, but it's going to be 240 mass for Remy from that factory by Slin. One thing to note, in terms of Navy, Slin does have naval control, so if you're Remy, you don't want to spend too much time in the water. But really not too much land from either player. Looks like the bottom might go to Slin, so if it's not clear, hold on here, you can see a point defense from Remy. But it's actually hard to call here. We got multiple factories and engineers versus a couple of units. There's also an engineer coming in from Slin. But at this point, we do see a numbers advantage for Remy. He might be able to take this. One big problem that Remy does have is this cruiser coming out. That's going to be very powerful. And now you can see actually Slin deciding to leave here, respecting this point defense from Remy. So Remy's going to have a top corner. Really his two bases on the right and on the left. Actually Remy has a chance of taking that bottom base as well. Will give him a big advantage. Of course the metal does belong to Slin. At this point this cruiser is nearly finished. You see quite a bit of interceptors still being spammed. You can see this force here. We got some anti-air in the middle. And here come the gunships now from Remy. He's going to tech to air. And he's going to take out that frigate and most likely keep moving down or up top. We also see torpedo bombers coming out from Remy. We got to remember there is an ACU here in the water. These torpedo bombers are going to be extremely powerful, taking out that Tech 1 submarine. And the gunships causing Slin to retreat on land here on the left side. Remy looks like he's just making air here on the top base. Absolutely no challenge from Slin. Actually Remy, if you made some, he's got tanks right here, easy raiding all these mass extractors. And now a bit of an air fight. It appears that, especially with this cruiser, we see 2 kills on this cruiser already from Slin. Remy's really got to respect this air now. And if air changes hands, this map control can change hands very quickly. See the gunships being taken back all the way to base. Both players have a pretty nice air force, but this cruiser with 5 kills taking out mass extractors, really good unit to have together with your air force. You see how quickly those scouts are shot out of the air. But one thing to note, if all of these torpedo bombers can hit at once against that cruiser, it looks like they're just being patrolled, which means they get shot for nothing. Let's see how Remy gets out of this situation. He's got big problems. He does have a slight advantage from the map control. It might not actually be too much of an advantage anymore. But he's got a very big problem with this cruiser. Actually now we do see after 17 kills, this cruiser is hit by a whole bunch of torpedoes, now 19 kills. And more torpedoes coming in. The cruiser is taken out, but quite a big price there. You can see a total air force loss there from Remy. Still got a couple gunships, but now the interceptors from Slin are going to go over, probably kill these, and prevent any more air production by Remy. And on top we see some tanks which are lost, should be raiding. Remy is not using those. We see a shield coming out. Yeah, so it would have been nice to get with a cruiser. Yeah, there is a second cruiser now for Slin. It's going to be very powerful, and Remy pushing on land against Slim. It's a Tech 1 fight, and still quite a few empty mask extractors here. Remy will pick those up. And these tanks is just painful not to see them raid. So many undefended mask extractors for Slin. Slin retreating back to the cruiser. Cruiser with 2 kills doing raids. Cruiser and T2 gunships, I'm not sure what is the best thing on this map, but the UEF cruiser can cover so much space with its cruise missiles. Extremely powerful. See all those mask extractors taken out. And once Sling gets the shield on top of this cruiser, it'll be a very bad situation for Remy. But let's see if he can do anything about it. Now, finally, one thing we've barely seen in this game has been drops, which is very strange with players who are this good, but now we've finally seen some from Slin. And it looks like it'll be big numbers advantage here for Remy. He will win this battle. See some zoom ins. This is what Supreme Commander, I guess, looks here up close. But it's hard to see the whole map, and we see this other air fight. 20 kills for the second cruiser from Slin. We see an attempt here from Remy to rush T2 Navy. It'll be very difficult. Here comes the shield. We do see a T2 shield here from Remy as well, trying to protect his main base. You see some of these mass extractors are targeted. Some tactical missile defense to counter that cruiser. A really total air domination. And you can see the power of those drops from Slin. Dropping off a few engineers, just capture free mask extractors. I'll see a drop here. It looks like Slin has forgotten about. But in terms of land, we can see Remy actually winning this battle on both sides. You can see really Slin only has his main base in the middle now. Some good moves here from Remy, taking out those mask extractors. So even though there's a big trouble for Remy with his cruiser, now 27 kills, he is slowly capturing the map. Now looking at the base, still just Tech 1 air spam from Slin. And actually no Tech 2 factories here at all, except the Tech 2 naval factory. Now we are seeing the tanks from Remy making it all the way into Slin's base. He does have quite a few tanks saved up for defense. Also making some point defenses, so should be minimal damage here at the main base from Remy. Although he did take a Hydra out on the other side. Also a pretty even fight, slight advantage for Remy. Actually, after these forces come in, both of these forces from Remy are defeated, but you can see not many red units all over the map. This cruiser with 29 kills. You see the tactical missile defense here working for Remy. See more tactical missile defense planned for Remy. This is still a very even game. Now another cruiser here with 10 kills for Slin is going to try to control all the different corners. Now actually no, not destroy a torpedo boat from Slin, so he's thinking that Remy might be able to get a couple Tech 1 submarines. At this point he can't really do that. And a Tech 1 submarine can definitely counter either the shield or the cruiser, and quite a cheap counter if Remy was able to get some naval units somewhere, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. You can see Navy units from Slin in all four corners. There's a whole bunch of Tech 1 bombers here as well. Looks like they're going after Remy. He's got a pretty massive air spam here in the top base. You can see here tactical missile defense. Yeah, these bombers attacking. That was a big group of torpedo bombers here, but it looks like they were not even able to break the shield in the first pass. Should be able to do it here in the second, and actually some of the torpedoes get through. It doesn't look like it was successful. Here comes a torpedo boat. It's going to get under the shield. I would rather, instead of that torpedo boat, since it floats on water, make a whole bunch of Tech 1 submarines, make like 5 of them at the same time it takes to make that torpedo boat. Totally devastate that force. Of course, there's also a torpedo boat now from Slin. So never mind, I guess I can't say that, but the cruiser is taken out by Remy. And at the same time we see a whole bunch of Tech 1 bombers attacking Remy's base here. We see some anti-air being built by his ACU. Not too much ACU fighting in this game at all. Some counters here on the left side from Slin. And it looks like actually forcing Slin to retreat, but of course without shields this Navy definitely pretty big disadvantage, and a whole bunch of Tech 1 bombers now being regrouped by Slin here at minute 20. Perhaps he's thinking about taking out all these units, so it wouldn't take them too long. And we are seeing Slin taking back the map using Navy and air here, Tech 1 air. And this should be pretty devastating. With these many bombers, Slin can completely destroy this whole build capacity as long as he doesn't target, well, actually targeted some ships, which is quite strange, and not targeting the tactical missile defense. Big overkills in some of those bombs. Not targeting the factory. And a bit of an air fight once again. And of course with this cruiser in the air, 29 kills for Slin. Should be a pretty big advantage for Slin, for red. And we can see him totally dominate air once again. Still a couple Tech 1 bombers alive. And actually a destroyer being built by Remy. And that's really going to force Slin back. Destroyer's going to get under the shield, take out the shield, take out the cruiser. Already did that. EF destroyer, the most powerful Tech 2 unit you can say in the game. And a pretty nice push from Slin. They're here from the top. Should take the bottom base. But perhaps Remy has a chance here with his new Navy. And he's got a very big spam. It was a big lost opportunity from Slin. With that many bombers, all these engineers could have been killed. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen. A torpedo boat and a destroyer will be very difficult to kill. We also see in a cruiser. But elsewhere we do see some destroyers, 2 destroyers for Slin. So he still has an advantage, but it's to be very careful about attacking these. If one of those gets taken out by some Tech 2 air, a big loss. You can see the naval spam from Slin. Quite a bit of his eco going here, and it looks like a destroyer. Will be the 3rd destroyer for Slin. And yet another air fight, and once again it looks like Slin will be able to win this one. Although here's a cruiser for Remy now with 2 kills. And we might see a bit of a, well, now we do see this air advantage should pay off. We see some T2 bombers coming in for Slin. We'll target this cruiser. You don't want to lose that cruiser if you're Remy. Here comes some more torpedo boats. We should see some shields coming out for Remy at this point. We see a second Tech 2 power generator being built by Remy. And those are going to be very important in this UEF on UEF fight, who has more power. It doesn't look like there's any T2 power for Slin, and that will be a very big advantage for Remy, because once he gets a couple shields that he can support with his Tech 2 power for his UEF Navy, it'll be in a very big advantage. And this could just be a comeback here from Remy, minute 24. He still is holding on to the top base. Looks like he is able to recover here from this push from Slin. But there's a pretty large force coming in as well. So this fight on the bottom isn't over. This base hasn't really belonged to anyone. Has been fighting over it pretty much the whole game. See Slin worried about air, making a whole bunch of anti-air. Here needs a lot of tactical missile defense to protect against this cruiser. 24 kills for Remy's cruiser. Back at base we do see a single T2 factory from Slin. And now shields coming out for Slin. He's got to think about T2 power. He does have that planned. But once again, a pretty big advantage in T2 power for Remy. And I can see after he built that, he's sending even more engineers to his Navy. It's really his hope to get him back in this game. And so far it's working out very well with all these ships. Can't forget about Slin's Navy, however, he already has 4 destroyers. A couple shields around these will be very powerful. So all 3 types of units are definitely involved: Navy, land, and air. So out of curiosity, here is Slin at minute 26, plus 57. Reclaimed a total of 5,000 and plus 1,200 power. If we look at Remy, plus 2,000 power, so that's a very big advantage. In terms of mass production, very similar, and twice as much reclaim for Remy. You can see this tech to power wave very big for evening out the game for Slin. And we might see a naval battle before that. No shields here for Remy. It's going to be taking on 4 destroyer and a shield for Slin, plus torpedo boat, but looks like that shield is targeted. Don't want to lose that while it's off, and perhaps a retreat now from Remy, realizing he might not be able to take on 4 destroyers. But Remy also has 4 destroyers of his own, plus some cruisers, but very even numbers. These shields will make it very uneven. Here's it comes the ACU for Slin. Might come out here on this beach, try to overcharge a few of these ships. And this push from Slin actually looks like a big break in this battle in the bottom. Slin actually putting some engineers here as well. He's going to take advantage, a lot of wrecks, so a very big victory for Slin. He still has a Tech 1 force pushing through. Perhaps Remy's navy will be able to intercept. Still no shields from Remy, very surprising. And quite a bit of teching. Looks like he is going to Tech 2 mass extractors here. And now the ACU for Remy also going back to the main base. It looks like the navy from Slin is going to the top corner, which means that Slin is going to take over most of the map. So this comeback from Remy looked good early on, but Slin really holding on to the advantage he had really with his 4 destroyers. Played very defensively, but it looked like it was the right move. Oh, we can see that force from Slin getting killed by this T2 Navy, just for some remnants of it. Now we might see another naval conflict. You can see the middle is being lost by Slin. He had a Tech 2 radar here in the middle, very valuable. See most of the map, any early attacks. This could be trouble here for Remy up top. Out on bottom, really doesn't look like too much of a challenge except a couple engineers from Remy. It's just a single shield at this point. A couple more shields will be very nice for Slin. He's working on a second T2 power. Pretty big Tech 1 interceptor span, plus some transports. A few T2 mask extractors. Still only T2 power generators for Remy, and more destroyers coming out for Remy. The ACU for Remy also looks like going to the middle. And this is a good move from Remy, moving in here, giving a chance to this base. We still see it surviving with a bunch of engineers, but most of the factory, actually all the factories are gone. It's only tanks. At this point, defense will be very effective at staying alive for Remy. We are seeing this push. Slin once again being very defensive, going back all the way to his factory. And Remy gets close and now retreats once again. So a very even battle here at minute 31. And perhaps all these Tech 1 units with these transports flying around could be very nice drops. See some, definitely don't want to fly transports over this navy, but get some engineers in this area. Looks like Slin already has a few. This has been great ratings from these tanks from Slin. Engineers are going to die. They do have a Tech 1 point defense here, but engineers versus tanks does not work. And the ACU for Remy now taking the central position on the map. Get a couple of these mask extractors. Once again, a very even game here, split down the middle. Not really clear who has the advantage. A second naval factory now being produced by Slin. One thing to note, Tech 1 Navy from both these players very much neglected, while the frigate from UEF very powerful. Also a good counter to shields. I can see this is a nice defensive structure here with a bunch of Tech 1 point defenses from the engineers. No more factories, so Remy might think about doing a counter. This isn't really too much here, just some Tech 1 tanks. A bit of attention from this navy and it's all gone. But it looks like Slin taking this opportunity to move in. See, these engineers recovered very quickly. Got back all those mask extractors. And now it looks like once again Remy is going to move in to try to counter. And immediately Slin retreats. Pretty big Tech 1 force now coming in from Slin. He's going to try to take the top, should be able to, with these numbers unless this Navy moves in. It looks like Slin will allow it to move in. And well, Slin looking to stay his ground. Remy retreating. And maybe here we will see this fight. Nope. Neither player wants to really commit. They keep on faking. Just shooting at each other with those cruise missiles. And here on the bottom should be no problems for Remy. And with Remy's ACU in the middle, if he were to lose this naval battle, this pretty much would be game over. But he looks like he will be very careful. We see the two navies on either side of the central island. This is some crazy stuff going on here. I've never seen this battle. But let's see what happens. Looks like Remy moving down. And a whole bunch of torpedo bombers coming out for Slin. So he's thinking about this naval battle. He will attack with air as well, which could really shift the battle in his favor. We see 2 shields for Remy, only 1 for Slin. And the ACU for Remy in the water, retreating, and looks like a pretty large force here through the top. So while we had all these naval maneuvers, Slin took the time to run over the base, did leave a couple of mass ejectors, and now moving in directly into Remy's base. There's only a few tanks, won't be able to do much. And now this EEF naval fight continues, and a bit of an advantage here for Remy with these shields still going strong. We now see Slin losing a couple ships. You can see when you get close to EEF Navy, these destroyers will absolutely massacre you. And a full retreat from Slin. You see the torpedo bombers coming in from Slin. Some of the shields come back on. It looks like Remy, after taking a couple of kills, is going to retreat. The frigates coming out for Slin, also a Tech 3 sonar. This sonar from EEF actually has a torpedo launcher. Very nice sonar. Don't see one of those from Remy, and he's still purely Tech 2. Also some mongoose from Remy. He does have units coming in directly into his base. ACU for Remy chasing down. T2 mass extractors being destroyed here by Slin. But he's going to lose quite a few units in this, and if we see a counterattack from Remy, he's going to have quite a few mass wrecks to pick up. Now we see Mongoose versus Riptide. Mongoose running away. We might see a bit of a Tech 2 battle here on the bottom. And the naval battle just keeps on getting bigger here at minute 39. Did not expect this game to be this long, and here's another destroyer and a very big air force from Slin. We can see T2 engineers here rebuilding Tech 2 mass extractors for Remy. Now Remy getting the first upgrade of the game on his ACU here at minute 40. Now the ACU for Slin going to the middle. He's got Tech 2 engineering. See a T2 engineer for Remy. A couple of T2 PDs might be a good idea, although maybe some tactical missile defense would be better. On the bottom, very even. Looks like engineers versus tanks once again. These are Tech 2. Some Riptides and some pillars. The top completely belongs to Slin now. Dropping off a couple engineers, taking the mass spots. And definitely map control shifting in Slin's favor once again. You can see this massive torpedo bomber squadron being moved. You can see this pillars versus Mongoose. Mongoose have to retreat. Tech 2 ground spam here from Remy. And the Tech 2 land spam from Slin. So T2 and T2. Total control from Slin on top. We might see some more attacks from top, although a T2 force moving in from Remy. But now with this naval maneuver from Slin, be very dangerous for this Tech 2 land force. And this will be a very important naval battle between these two players. You'll see torpedo bombers coming in. The shields for Remy are having some troubles. Looks like he has some power problems. And you can see total air domination now from Slin. Going directly over Remy's base. Torpedo bombers are going to work. Doesn't look like they're able to break the shields. It's nice to use those after the shields are done, somewhere at the end of the naval battle, to turn it. Early on, these torpedoes just hitting random shields, not having any effect. And a retreat now from Slin. This air is actually getting massacred. This is terrible. You can see there's so many kills, 18, 21 from Tech 1 anti-air against all these Tech 1 interceptors from Slin. So a very even battle. It was a good idea from Slin, but he really underestimated Remy here and now forced to retreat after losing quite a few ships. And this naval advantage in numbers here from Remy is becoming very significant. He might be very close to making a very decisive push. There's still Tech 2 Navy destroyers and shields coming out from Slin. That'll be very difficult to break. Slin sitting in the middle could be very dangerous. Whoa, that was crazy. In a 43-minute game so far here at Tech 2, looks like a bit of an advantage for Slin. And you can see Pillars, very good health. Looks like in close combat getting the better of the Mongoose. And now Remy is making his Tech 2 push. Very big trouble here for Slin. Trying to make some T2 torpedo launchers, but it might be too late. You can see once you lose shields and once destroyer and destroyer, numbers really pay off. And Slin looks like he just gave up, but that would not really have made a difference. He was about to lose that Navy and get killed by torpedoes. So Navy decides a 44-minute Eye of the Storm. I hope people enjoyed this one. I definitely did. Didn't think it would be this long.